Everybody, welcome back to Georgia Living. I'm Chris Evans.
I'm Céline, Georgia Living Podcast.
Yeah, that's kind of implied. Oh, welcome back to the show. It's great to be here. We've got a great episode for you today. We're joined by Rob Doerr with eHome Loan Advisors out of Roswell. He's going to give us an update as to what's happening in the mortgage world today. We're also going to talk a little bit about what's been going on with Cobb 101. Last week we learned about the Sheriff's Department. We'll talk a little bit about that and the cool things that they're doing. We've got some community development news that we're going to get into today because there is a lot of projects going on around Cobb County. So we'll talk about some of those big projects a little later. So before we get into the show, Rob, welcome. How are you doing, buddy? Rob?
Oh, hey, sorry.
Oh, there you are. Hey, bud. Welcome.
Everything's good here. Thanks for having me.
Great. We're glad to have you back on the show. In just a sec, we'll get into some mortgage stuff. But before we do that, Céline, what's going on with everything? Like, what's new this week?
I'm about to sneeze. Hold on.
That was like the cutest sneeze ever. I'm going to have to edit that. I don't know that I'm going to edit that out. I might
Bless
leave
you.
it.
I told you my nose was itchy before. All right. You know what? I'm going to suffer in silence here. So hold on. Get back to me in a few minutes.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and dive. We've been busy around the house. We've had some team rides with the mountain bike team. We're getting into the swing of things with band. We've got all sorts of stuff happening. I think it is we are in the full experience of school now, which is nice. We've got normal schedules. Working on bringing a couple of listings to the market over the next couple of weeks, including one that's going to be in Bethlehem, Georgia. And that's going to be about 2,000 square feet, ranch, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Really nice house, great location. Needs a little bit of TLC and some carpet, but it will be priced accordingly. And so that photos are being done Friday, I believe. So we'll have that hitting the market next week. And that'll be at $339. So really nice price point. Very excited to see that come to the market, and then we've got another property coming in under management. We got a tenant we've got to screen and go through that application and move-in process. So work is steady. We've got some great opportunities on the commercial side coming up, but it's just been a whole lot of back to the grind. I think we're out of the vacation mode. We are kind of acclimated to the new climate of middle school and elementary school. What do you think, Céline?
It's like summers hurry up and wait, and then you become a taxi driver, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. It went from like this kids sitting around doing nothing and we have to beg them to go outside and do anything, to now James is involved in like 6 different groups and organizations, and we're constantly out of the house, and it's something we haven't had to do ever.
I don't think we're alone.
No, I don't think so either.
No, Rob is probably shaking his head like, yeah, you're not alone.
Last night we had a team ride, and James was a little sore, right? Because we had a ride Sunday, so we did another ride last night. And last night I got out there, and I was riding, and it's the first time in 14 years that I've seriously ridden a bike. Did a little over 7 miles in 2 hours, and it sucked. Like it was awesome, but
I'm glad you had a good time.
It sucked. Definitely feeling it today, but I'm not the only dad doing it. Like there's other dads out there. I was talking to a few of them in the parking lot, and they're out and got the old bikes out of the garage and getting fit with the kids, and it's just a really great family environment. Love doing it, and gonna keep going at it. But last week we had Cobb 101. And Cobb 101 is the Citizens Government Academy that I'm in. Every week we're a different rotation for a different part of the Cobb County government to learn how that works, and some interesting parts of like the moving parts of the county. So we met in the courthouse, Marietta Square, and got to learn about how the sheriff's office runs, got to sit in a Q&A with our county sheriff's Owens for about an hour. He just came out and answered questions. It was very, very short talking points. He only talked for like 5 minutes, and then he gave us like an hour to an hour and a half of just Q&A for us to be able to ask him like lots of different questions. So a couple of things that I took away from that were, one, in Georgia, you hear a lot about like the privatization of jails, right? We don't really have that. There's, I think, according to Sheriff Owens, there might be 1 or 2 prisons in Georgia that are privately operated, but that's it. All the other jails, county and detention centers, those are owned by the county, operated by the county, and their budget constraints are really difficult. Like they'll go years without getting budgetary increases in the county budget, and the expenses don't go down. Vendors don't go down. They spend like thousands, and according to that, this is a quote, they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just on underwear alone every year to house, feed, take care of, provide medical treatments for the inmates. So really interesting to know. When you hear in the news, the sheriff went over budget. Well, yeah, that's because they don't increase the budget and the costs go up. Same vibe from the week before. They're doing more work with less. They're extremely efficiently run. They're going through redoing contracts and upgrading some buildings.
And I'm totally jealous of your experience, though, because you came home with blonde hairs on your shirt.
I did. If you checked out my Instagram page, you'll see what it's from. I fell in love while I was there with one of the police dogs, and this dog was like an award-winning dog. It was. There's photo evidence. And I was in a group. There are witnesses. I tell you,
the hairs were this short.
They were pretty short hairs. So I'm either cheating with. No, it's definitely a lab, a yellow lab. So this dog is unique in that, one, it was an award-winning dog. Like, they put in tons and tons of work with this dog to win like a dog of the year, police dog of the year, or something like that. But what's unique about it is what it's trained in. So there's like drug dogs, bomb dogs, all sorts of stuff. This one is trained in electronics. So it's bonded to a scent that's found in like memory cards, chips, storage devices. There's a plastics chemical that it's been trained on. So it's used in very specific cases where they're trying to find like hidden electronics in a house. And shout out to April Bailey, who I went to high school with and knew in middle school, because apparently the officer I met is her cousin. And that was his dog. Yeah. And she commented on my Facebook post. So it's a very small world. But we got to tour the detention center in the basement of the jail.
Yeah, our kids asked where you went, and I told them to jail.
Yeah, I was in prison.
But no, you were visiting.
I was.
You were the command center, and you learned a lot of stuff there too.
I did. It got to learn how it operates, how, when prisoners have a court date, because we weren't in the jail. We weren't in the county jail. We were in the courthouse, and in the basement there's a detention center. So when inmates have to come from the jail to court, they're transported into the detention center. They're held there, and then when their court case is about to be heard, they're transported down a hallway, through double secure doors, to an elevator there's no buttons. It's controlled by a central operations hub. That elevator takes them upstairs, and then there's like a secured metal door behind a faux wooden door in the courtroom, and they come out into the courtroom.
I didn't even know that there were different holding things.
Oh, yeah. I learned all sorts of stuff.
I thought a detention center was a jail to begin with.
No.
They're separate. Okay.
They are.
Because I've never been.
and the jail is different than prison. So the county jail
They're not synonymous?
No, the county jail is like pre-trial. So you can be in the county jail from like 3 days to 3 years, depending upon what it is. But once your court case has been heard, if you're sentenced, then you go to prison. So go down to like Jackson. Yeah,
it's a totally different world for me.
It really is. But I learned a lot. There's some really there's some good programs that they're doing. Like in the county jail, they're working to help people finish their GED.
Speaking of education, you told me that it's completely separate from the school system, right?
Yeah. So the county government operations and the county school board are completely independent.
Huh.
So the county government operates. So if you're mad at what's happening in the school board, don't go to the county government. They can't help you. Go to the school board because you got to know who to be mad at, right?
I didn't even know they were separate.
They are.
I've lived here pretty much all my life except for DGA, right? So
yeah, and like the taxes. In Cobb County, we have a 6% tax. 4% of that goes to the state. Then we have 1%, which goes to the school board, and we have 1% that goes to county operations.
And you said we were one of the lowest taxes.
Yeah, so 6% is the lowest in the metro Atlanta area. Cherokee County is also 6%. Gwinnett is like 7%, and then Fulton is like 8 to 9, I think, depending upon where you are, because there's like some special tax districts in there as well where it's even more.
So, that makes a big difference, especially to numbers guy Rob.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I live in Fulton County, and have to deal with that. But,
I know.
And I came from Cobb, so I'm not sure why I did that, but I did.
Shop over here.
Yeah, shop Cobb.
There you go.
You save some money. Shop here because our county's better. Damn's fighting words. So, this Cobb 101 is a Citizens Government Academy. It's this is going to be week 3 this week that we're coming up to. It's a 11-week program, 11 sessions over 12 weeks. We have a break for called fall break. But we're getting into. I forget where we're going this week, but we're going to cover all different operations. I got to tell you, one of my favorite parts so far is listening to all the police officers make fun of the firefighters. It's hilarious. I love the jabs because they'll give like the intergovernmental departments, they'll like jab each other, and it's really funny to watch that happen.
It's like go Navy beat Army.
Exactly, but they're all operating in every department that I'm meeting, and every person I'm talking to. I'm finding out that how efficient they are running it. So you always learn like, oh, government, it's super inefficient. Maybe at the federal level, but at the local level, it's like they barely have enough to squeak by, and they're making do. They're doing great, and I hope they are because I just saw my tax bills this year for property tax, and they're doing just fine. They're going to have plenty of money. But that's what's going on with Cobb 101.
Yesterday I was talking to somebody and they were lamenting at how much the taxes went up in the past 5 years. And I was like, oh, yeah. Did you not remember the value added to your property? The equity that you've gotten and the assessment for that. I'm like, that probably has a big thing to do with that.
Huge thing to do with it.
There's a reason why you're paying more taxes. So I don't know.
I think the school takes the most.
Yeah, it's hard to complain about when your value of your home doubled,
Exactly.
in the last 7 years or 5 years or whatever,
paying more every year, you have that equity which balances it out, especially when you sell or, whatever you do with it, 1031 it. So
it's the wallet pain though. Yeah. It's like, I got to pay this much more, but when I bought the house, I bought it for this payment, and then you're watching that payment go up as your escrow balance adjusts up for the higher tax brackets or the higher tax valuation. Mm-hmm. So, I
don't know about you guys, but I waive my escrows. So, I think I'm Mr. Cool until the tax bill comes out, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I couldn't do that. I have our commercial building doesn't have the escrow.
But I don't even think
it's painful when you get that bill.
The regular homeowner doesn't understand millage rates or anything, right? They don't.
It's hard to
No.
understand. Well, property
really.
taxes just recently came out, and maybe next week we'll cover that because I don't have it in front of me to
Like
kind of go over the
exactly what
breakdown.
these things are, so that when you do get
Yeah.
your property tax sheet, like maybe we can bring one in.
Well, I got a call from one of our past clients over their property tax bill this year.
Really?
Yeah, she gave me a call. She's like, "Hey, Chris, this is I'm not going to say her name, but
No.
she called me and she's like, "Hey, Chris, I had a quick question. Wanted to go over the property tax, where things are, and so." I wasn't at my computer. She didn't have it in front of her, but I was able to just kind of go through and say, hey, well, what's the valuation? That's the big thing. Like, what is the assessed value of your property? If it is at value or under, then you're good, right?
Right.
If it's pretty close to where you bought it, then you're okay. Just because property taxes have gone up over the last few years. But the big thing is that we have the adjusted basis. And so you have, in property taxes, you have your market value. That's what it's worth if you sell it. Then you have your assessed value, which I think is like 40% or 60% of your market value in Cobb. And then your
I think 40.
millage rate is based off of the assessed value. So the assessed value should be about 40% of what your market value is. And then the millage rate is broken up into three sections. In Cobb County, you have the school fund, you have the general fund, and you have the emergency fund. And so the school fund, that goes directly to the school board, doesn't go to government operations. The general fund goes to county operations. That's general operations.
And that's 1%, right?
No. This is property tax bill.
Oh,
1% is sales tax.
that's right.
So
Totally separate.
on the property tax bill, you have the school board, the general fund, which also covers police in Cobb County, because Cobb County has, for whatever reason, the police in Cobb County operate under the general fund. Then you have emergency services, that's your fire and EMS. So those are the three things that you pay into. Once you hit 65, you can get your senior exemption in Cobb County. I think in Cherokee as well. Fulton County has some exemptions, but there's limitations to them. So Fulton County doesn't give you like the full benefit. And once you hit 65 and you file for the senior exemption, you're no longer paying into the school. And, one of our property taxes was like, I don't know, $5,000. And the school made up like $4,000 of that. So it's incredible savings once you hit 65. I'm both excited for that, but also not in a hurry to get there.
to be 65.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to get to 65, but I am in a hurry to not pay more taxes. So that's kind of what's going on there. And, with those coming out and, dealing with the escrows, some people are going to have adjusted escrows, and that's just part of dealing with the mortgage.
And that means in layman's terms.
Yes.
For people who don't know.
In an escrow, in your mortgage payment. Rob, how's that work?
Well, I would say probably 19 out of 20 people escrow their taxes and insurance, which means that it's part of your monthly payment every month. And then when you send in your monthly payment, the lender will set aside that portion in what's called an escrow account, like a holding account, with the taxes and insurance. So when the tax bill and the insurance bill do come out for that given year, that they will pay it for you. But you have the option, if you do 20% down or you have 20% equity in the home, you have the option of waiving your escrows, which means you're responsible for paying them on your own once a year.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of like having a little savings account. Is there any additional fee for that service, Rob?
To waive escrow, there's a very minimal fee on the rate to be able to waive escrows, but it's so minimal that a lot of times we can just absorb it,
To waive it. Yeah. So but there's no fee for like the mortgage company to do the escrow for you, right? Because they're accounting.
Yeah, correct.
It's generally in the mortgage company's best interest to have that paid,
To have the taxes paid,
to make sure it's paid every year, right? So that they're not getting the house thrown to a tax sale. So
I can understand that.
Exactly.
For people who don't own a home yet or have not taken out a mortgage and had their bills escrowed, it's kind of like, if your property tax is $1,200 for the year, then $100 a month is added to your monthly payment. It's separate from your principal and interest, and there's no additional fee for that. It's just sometimes you've got to follow the escrow requirements. So if you do have a shortfall, that payment gets increased to like 150% until you make up that balance, and now have adjusted for the new property taxes. Usually that just happens in the first couple of years of buying a house. Either the taxes have to adjust to the new value, or you may have bought from somebody who previously had a senior exemption and you don't, so it wasn't estimated properly. So lots of things going on there. Rob, we've heard tons of chatter this week in the news about the Fed. And,
So up to this point, though, we've been very, very slow as a market as a whole.
Super slow.
In America. And we had the quantitative tightening, which raised the interest rates. And so now we've been holding for a very, very long time. It seems like eternity, but it's not. And we've been waiting for the Fed chair, to Jerome Powell, to announce a decrease in that. There's been chatter. It hasn't happened yet this year. It hasn't happened at all, right? Okay, so we had no cuts this year.
We had a 50 basis point cut. Rob, was that this year or was that last year? That was last year.
That was last year in September.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a very long time. But now there's chatter. So, Rob, can you fill us in on what's going on there?
Yeah, so nobody knows for sure. I mean, but
it's a Fed,
it only makes sense, and all the chatter is that they'll be lowering rates starting next month, and hopefully continue that maybe a few times before the end of the year. But I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing mortgages for 25 years, and I've never seen rates this stubborn for like 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll start to see them come down, and then all of a sudden, whoops, and they're back up to 7, and then it's just been like ping pong between 6 and 7.
I would call it bumpy.
For a long time. So we're very due for a break in the rates.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I feel like the rates are like a hand touching a hot stove. It's like, nope, not going down yet. Not going down yet. Not going down yet. And waiting for it to cool.
So, okay, if that's the case.
Well, hopefully, since it's been so long that when it do start coming down, hopefully it'll be in a pretty sizable way,
I hope so.
But the fact is that we'll never know because the Fed is independent or supposed to be independent, and they are secretive as well until they announce it because it's not a public thing, right? I mean, it's behind closed doors. They consult with each other, and the best, I guess it's like a jury, they announce the verdict, whether they're going to hold, they're going to raise it, or they're going to lower it. And for about a year now, we've been no news. They've been very quiet. So if that's the case, Rob, who actually is moving? Like what kinds of situations have you seen to where, people are going through with these, even at high rates?
Well, I mean, I think, honestly, and I know we talk about this all the time, I think the smart person will say, I don't care about the rate. If I'm in the market to buy a house now, I'm going to go buy the house that I want now. Because anybody that's like, hey, I'm going to wait till rates go down. Well, if you wait till rates go down, guess what happens when rates go down? Prices go up.
With the
and the market heats up.
That the monthly payment is
So I think it's better to secure the house that you like now and then just refinance once rates come down.
Yeah, as I've always said this.
Yes.
Smart financial, decisions in buying a house. You're not buying the rate, you're buying the payment. So you buy the payment that you're comfortable with. That lets the house be a blessing, not a burden. And then you can, if rates do go down, then you can refi. And then now you have this additional windfall, but you weren't planning on it from the get-go. Mm-hmm. If you need to buy a house today, You're buying one that might be 30% smaller than what you could have afforded 5 years ago, but you're still buying a house. And that way you can start accumulating the equity. You can get the mortgage interest deduction, all the financial benefits that come with home ownership. And if you're interested, you can learn a little bit more about investing in real estate in our book, From the Ground Up, which is available on Amazon, Audible, and you can get a copy on hshbrands.com as well. So,
hey, Chris, to answer your question about Céline, about who is purchasing homes right now, I'd say probably the biggest target audience I've seen that's buying right now are families that had a starter home and they have now a family and they're outgrowing their home and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for rates to come down anymore because like we're busting at the seams. So they just go ahead and they bite the bullet and then moving up to the house that they really need.
I agree. I've seen a lot of that too. A lot of those people are just like, I really can't do it for my sanity anymore.
Of our clients.
Exactly.
Over the last 3 months, the clients that we've helped sell homes were expanding families. 2 of them. We had one with a baby on the way and then one that just had another one. And then and they had to leave the apartment. We had a relocation with job. So left the state. That property had to sell. We had one lateral move where they had to move for the commute. They moved a couple of years ago. They didn't like the commute, so they made a lateral move. And then the other one was a divorce. So it's all life. Yeah. Life requires people to move. Life doesn't stop because interest rates go up.
It slows down.
It slows down, but there's still lots of opportunity out there. I mean, we're in a buyer's market today. We have inventory levels between 4.5% and 6%, or 4.5 and 6 months, depending upon where in the Metro Atlanta area you're looking. I mean, the best markets are hovering close to a 3-month supply level right now. And even with that level of inventory, as a buyer, you get things in the contract, things that you didn't get 3 or 4 years ago. You're getting your closing costs covered. You're getting negotiation off of the list price. You're getting concessions made. You're getting repairs made. You're going to have the house professionally cleaned. All of these things you can get in the contract today that you couldn't get in 21, 22.
Unless you have a subpar agent.
Unless you either, it depends. There are some properties that are still going into multiple offer situations. They are few and far between.
Yep.
What I'm saying is a generalization. So generally speaking, you're going to get much more today than you would yesterday, and and that's going to help you offset those higher rates because you're going to get more favorable terms. And if you can buy today, when less people are buying, when you get more favorable terms, then, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, rates are going to come down because all the experts are thinking that they're going to hover somewhere around 5, right? So if they will eventually get there. How long that takes, who knows? So again, payment has to be comfortable, but get in today. And then when the rates come down, guess what happens to the prices and the equity? It goes up. And it goes up, up, up.
Rob, I have a question. I heard, not in my friend circle, but my friend's friend, that the friend's friend is holding out for 2% rates for it to drop. What do you say to these people?
Oh, a 2% rate drop from where they are right now?
Well, no. Remember, so everybody got a little spoiled during the pandemic years because the rates were at 0, making the mortgage rates, in the 2s and 3s. These people do believe that because that's their standard, that's what they know is the definition of low, right? They are expecting that when the Fed cuts it, that it's going to get low again to their definition of low in the 2s and 3s. Have we redefined low?
I don't think that's realistic whatsoever. I mean, before they went to 3, a really good rate was 4 something or 5 something percent. So no, I don't think that would happen unless something catastrophic happens in the world that would make them take a nosedive again. But I don't see that happening, and I don't know anybody that does see that happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. We got an headline out on Bloomberg News today. It's saying that the U.S. Home prices in the U.S. increase at the slowest rate since 2023. And if you don't remember, 2023 is when interest rates went up. They went up starting in the second half of 22, and 23 is when we were dealing with the 7 and 8% interest rates. Mm-hmm. So back then, in 2023, there was a 2.3% increase in prices year over year. This year, 1.9%. And we are slowing. We've slowed for 5 months straight in a row through the height of the selling season, right? So it's a challenging market for sellers. Having somebody who knows what they're doing in your corner is important. But for buyers, there's lots of opportunity here right now. So if you're interested in buying, we do represent buyers.
Absolutely.
Feel free to give us a call, 770-509-0265, and you'll get either Céline or myself. So, Rob,
I've got one quick story that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a super nice couple that was in the market for a home about 7 years ago, literally 7 years ago, and they wanted to wait until rates came down. Mm-hmm. And so think about that for a minute. Like back then, they could have bought a $400,000 house, which is now probably a $700,000 or $800,000 house. Mm-hmm. And back then, rates were probably around 5%. Now rates are not at 5%. So that's just an example of somebody like, hey, I'm going to wait till rates come down, and then you're paying twice as much for the home, and rates are actually higher.
Yeah, and it looks like they missed that window too. Because from
so they're shooting themselves in the foot, but now they have to buy a house, so they're actually moving forward now.
There's been a few pieces of like sage wisdom that have been imparted on me just being in this industry for as long as I have and being around people who have been in real estate for a long time, and probably the most important is the best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. There's no waiting on it. You buy a good house at a good price for favorable terms, and you're going to be successful. Buy the payment. That's it. So, Rob, with all the turmoil that's happened in Wall Street over the last few days, we've seen some headlines saying that, Powell's considering a cut. What's that done to rates over the last few weeks? You mentioned that we had some good movement.
Yeah, we had a little good movement like last week. They started coming down and then they kind of halted. So they're still hovering around. I mean, I think our rate right now is around 6.125 with really good credit. They come down a hair, but not as much as obviously we want to see them come down.
Yeah.
But I think once we get closer to the rate decision, we'll start to see more action.
And what does it mean, though? Because Jerome Powell's term is coming to an end, right? And it's kind of like Supreme Court justices, picking which ones. They kind of have these philosophies. Mm-hmm. Is that affecting the mortgage rates at all, do you think? Or is it just a side note?
It's not necessarily at this point in time, but I think once that happens, it'll have a big effect on rates. Just because I know the new administration is kind of focused on getting rates down. So I feel like whoever's appointed is going to be in the same mindset and be favorable of lowering rates a good bit. So hopefully that is what's going to happen, in my opinion.
And that's a good point, though. They're not voted; they're appointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever gets in there is going to be somebody that they're going to feel wants to get the rates down, in my opinion. So hopefully that's the case, and we start to see some really good downward movement.
And we'll see what happens with this whole shakeup with Cook, because apparently the president is going after one of the Fed presidents to try and oust her. I don't know. But if that happens, then he may have 2 appointments. So it's going to be a big legal battle to see if he's even able to do that. And then if he does, then he'll be able to appoint somebody today or soon to have sway over the direction. And then Fed Chair Powell, his term expires in 2026, so he'll be stepping out when that happens. So then President Trump will be able to appoint another person, and then there'll be two people of influence on the chair committee. So when they're voting, I mean, it's just like Supreme Court, right? The president gets to appoint. That influence stays long after the presidency term.
Right.
So, Rob, any other sage words of wisdom that people should know about right now with what's happening or opportunities that you're seeing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, if I were in the market for a home, I certainly wouldn't be waiting, since it's a buyer's market right now and rates are still higher, which is the only negative. But with all the predictions of rates coming down a good bit, I think it's probably the best time if you're in the market to look at moving forward on a house. And like you said, securing the home and then just refinancing once rates come down. And remember, once rates come down, you don't have to wait. Like, you don't have a one-time shot to refinance. If rates come down to where it makes sense to refinance, you do it. And then 6 months later, if they continue to go down and it makes sense to do, you do it again. Like I've been in my house for a long time, but I've probably refinanced 4 or 5 times,
So with these not changing, but holding rates, there have been some programs that have been created or changed. I know that the Georgia Dream program has been changed, their parameters as well. So with that, what might some people not know of that they can make use of right now in our climate with our local economy? Are there any incentives out there that you know of?
Yeah, there's some. I mean, they change constantly, but there's different grant programs, that it just depends on each particular buyer's situation and their criteria and their credit score and their income and their debt ratios and that sort of thing, whether they would qualify for this program or that program. There's not a ton of them, but there is a small handful of programs. There was one not too long ago. If you were a first-time home buyer and there was no income limits, so you could make as much as you wanted. As long as you were just a first-time home buyer, you qualified to get like $6,500 literally free money towards your down payment. But I called about that a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore." But there's always stuff like that pops up.
Yeah, really does.
Got it. So really, they should call you and say, "Hey, at this moment right now, if I'm applying for a mortgage, what can you do to help me?" Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. If somebody calls and says, "I'm interested in this program," I'm like, "Well, let's do this first. Let's have a look at, let's fill out an application and have a look at your total financial pictures and your qualifications, and then I can tell you exactly which programs are available and the best ones for you."
What's your contact?
My contact is 404-771-0341 or rdoerr@ehla.com.
Great. We'll make sure we put all your contact information in the show notes. Rob, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and knowledge when it comes to mortgages in our local market.
Thanks. It was good to be with you guys too.
Thanks,
Have a great day, Rob.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So continuing on, we've got some community and development things that are happening right around here. Céline, what's going on in Roswell?
So, we are so close to Roswell, being in East Cobb, and we're kind of in between two really charming places, the downtown Roswell and downtown Old Marietta Square. And it's kind of equidistant, a little bit closer to Roswell, though.
Yeah, we're like 10 minutes to downtown Roswell and 15 to the square.
Yeah, a little bit closer to Roswell.
This is one of the great things about East Cobb is you don't just have one area to go to, you got two.
It's so nice. But Mimosa Hall, that is the hall that is close to Barrington Hall. And I've said this many times, but Barrington Hall is the mother of Teddy Roosevelt's home. She is Georgian. So Mimosa Hall, very, very close by. It's not the same Barrington Hall, but it's kind of catty corner to it. They cut down 35 trees, the city of Roswell. This is a pre-antebellum home. Or I guess we should say antebellum or pre-antebellum, but anyways, you get the idea of how old it is. So they cut
Pre-Civil War.
Pre-Civil War. That is antebellum.
Yeah.
They cut down 35 trees. And so a lot of people do love trees. there's some backlash over this.
A lot of it, yeah.
And Jerry Wood, he's the former mayor of Roswell, he says it's ruined the historic setting. I have not seen this personally. I haven't driven by there in about 3 months or so. And to get to Mimosa Hall, you do have to go a little bit behind a few streets.
Yeah,
so
you got to go down a side street.
Yeah, so it's not very visible from Roswell Road, which is the main road where you turn off of. So what is going on with this backlash? You've read this?
I mean, the big thing is that the backlash from the community on this is that cutting down all of the trees, like there are 35 trees cut down. Some of them were pretty old, and the question is, are the trees part of the historic setting, or are they, can you just change the trees and the layout on such a historic site? So that's the question, preservation versus modernization, and is the removal of these trees modernizing the property at all?
In real estate, trees are a big topic.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't think so, but trees are everywhere, and there are specific laws and procedures.
Tree laws are insane.
Tree laws. Oh my gosh. You have to notify a certain way. You have to go through certain channels and do different things depending on where it's located, what it's doing. The significance to it. Like there's Hadrian's Wall, I believe, in Scotland, right?
Yeah.
And then there was that Hadrian's Gap. There's a gap in the wall, and there's this one tree. I believe it was a sycamore. And vandals cut it down. That wasn't so good because that tree had become kind of like a landmark. And it was just this highly photographed area of that wall. And now it's just a gap again. I'm sure at one point it was just a wall, but I guess culture becomes entwined in it, and there's significance. Yeah. And then how do you measure the worth of that too, right? Mm-hmm. Especially at Mimosa Hall. What do these 35 trees mean, right? And then also, we don't even know why they were cut down. I don't know.
I think this was... I don't know. There wasn't a statement there. I just know that they were cut down, and there's some backlash coming from that. So that's happening. This was in conjunction with an article that was talking about there's a local group that's going around to historic sites in Cobb and Atlanta, and they're trying to specifically date the age of these properties and home sites. So it's part of the historic preservation. But that's not all. We've got East Marietta has a townhouse rezoning request. So South Marietta Parkway and Powers Ferry, that area is, the plan right now is for 119 units. This is going to be 80 townhomes, 39 detached. This is Trayton Homes. In 2021, there was a failed proposal for Laurel Park or Nexus Gardens. I'm not sure what the plans were on that. But the questions around this are, what does this mean for density, traffic, and the surrounding neighborhood? Because this is, I think this is that site we were driving by the other day, and we saw things moving again. So it's right off of South Marietta Parkway near Powers Ferry. So we've got some movement there. There's a new proposal in, so this would be 119 units. Development, more housing in an area that needs it. Townhomes are generally going to be less expensive than single-family detached, so this could be an opportunity for some more affordable housing close to the East Cobb area. This is like right between East Cobb and Marietta Square.
This is the location of the old church that became a Brazilian church, and then it was torn down, and now it's just this dirt lot, right?
I don't remember what was there, but quite possibly. But speaking of churches, we're going to have a new church coming to East Cobb. The old East Valley Elementary School was sold to the Archdiocese of Atlanta, and they've announced that this is going to be a Vietnamese Catholic church. The property sold for $4.25 million to the Archdiocese, and the new church is called Our Lady of Lavang, named after a historic Vietnamese apparition. It's going to use the 1960s era building as is for now, and this is supposed to bring cultural and community significance to East Cobb for the Vietnamese community. Some other things happening. We've got Céline, why don't you talk about the Henry project at the Battery?
It is a vertical construction that's finally visible. There are going to be a whopping 502 apartments in phase 1.
That's just phase 1.
There's retail and a pedestrian bridge as well. Mm-hmm. Now, phase 2 is going to have even more stuff. A hotel, condos, and even more retail so you can shop and spend all of your money.
Mm-hmm. This is a $500 million development with the Braves Development Company.
Mm-hmm. And so the Braves have already had a huge impact on Cobb County, but this phase 1 and 2 are going to have even more because now we have more people living, more retail, more business, more job
which
opportunities.
Means more tax roll.
Exactly.
More improvements to the county, more improvements to the cities. Very excited about that.
So I learned that the Braves are one of the very few publicly owned baseball teams.
Really?
I didn't know that. Most of them are private. I only learned it because of the whole, how do you classify employees type of thing with taxes, and it was an article on that. But one tidbit that I got from that is very, very off, not to do with taxes, but the fact that they mentioned other teams are incredibly not jealous, but they look to the Battery development that we have in Cobb County, and they are awestruck by it.
Yeah, they use it as a new model.
Yes.
Because the Battery isn't the first ballpark to be built around an entertainment facility.
Yeah, so for people who've never been, the Battery is like a city in itself. It's a small one, but it's pedestrian friendly. You can still go in it with cars, depending on what's going on at the Battery itself and the ballpark. But the ballpark is central to this kind of self-contained island of hotels, entertainment, restaurants galore, an open space, fountain,
concert venues.
Yeah. So, and it's very easy to get in and out because it's right by the highway, 285 and 75, where basically they meet. Pretty close. Yeah.
The big thing about the Braves Stadium at the Battery versus Turner Field is the planning that went into it. Turner Field had two ways in or out, so
and
traffic
was
awful.
Island in itself. And you go in and then you watch a game and then you leave.
There was nothing to do there. There was no reason to stay. There was no reason to come when there wasn't a game going on. And there had been other ballparks that had built kind of some entertainment venues around it, but the Battery was the first of its kind. So yeah, a lot of people look to it as a model, not just for the entertainment, but also as the community planning and community development, because it's part of the CID, the Cumberland Improvement District over there. So there's an additional 1% tax in that district that goes back to developing that area. The tax roll that it's done for the county has surpassed expectations multiple years in a row, which is just fantastic because the more people come to our county and spend their money here, the more we get to invest, and it's a great attraction. So
it's so good to where you can go there without a game.
Yeah.
And just hang out all day.
Just go to Antico, grab a pizza. Go to the Sitka store and get some new hunting gear.
There's even this giant candy store that you really don't want to take your kids to because, well, I mean, you do and you don't. Yeah. They love it, and I cave. So
yeah, give them a budget when they go in.
Yeah, it's so cool.
This one hits a little close to me because this was my library as a kid, but the Stratton Library is closing on September 15th. there's going to be a $500,000 SPLOST-funded renovation. There will be a temporary relocation options will be available for the patrons that go there. They're going to make upgrades to the study rooms, meeting space, lots of new furniture, and a fully refreshed interior, which that Stratton Library needed that when I was a kid. So I'm excited that they're finally getting it like 20 years after they already needed it. Lots happening.
Cobb County Library System's great too. So even
is.
though Stratton is closing, we have so many locations that they have interlibrary loans as well. You will not miss a beat in your trilogy. I promise.
I love our library system. I use Libby all the time, both for audiobooks and for Kindle. I just go, put it on hold. Whenever it's ready, it's there, and it's delivered straight to my device. Definitely.
I do too.
Yeah, it's so cool. I probably read, 20 or 30 books off of Libby last year.
You cannot count audiobooks as reading.
I do.
Don't.
I'm ADHD. I count it. I read, but I also listen to stories.
I beg to differ. Listening's not the same.
I process all the words that you process with your eyes. I just hear a narrator instead of my internal monologue, which I'm okay with because I hear enough of myself in my internal monologue. So, lots happening in the family, lots happening with Cobb 101. Mortgage trends going in the right direction. Market still in the buyer's favor. We've got lots of major community updates, tons happening right now. So, it's an exciting time to be a part of Cobb. We're not going over community events because what we covered last week still hasn't happened yet, but just be aware we've got the North Georgia State Fair right around the corner. We've got the East Cobb Parade right around the corner.
The Candy Parade.
Do you know what I'm really excited about?
Candy?
No. Saturday. What happened Saturday?
Oh my gosh.
Go Dogs! Sick 'em!
Really?
Woo! Football's back.
Oh! It's my favorite.
I can't wait.
Favorite time of the year.
Gonna have to get out a big old pot, start making some chili. It'll be good. Good times.
All
will
right,
be had by all. So we will see you back here next week celebrating a UGA win and talking about more of what's happening in our local community. I'm Chris.
I'm Céline.
Please make sure you like and subscribe, share, leave reviews on your favorite podcast platform, just whatever you can to help get the word out and help share this great show and information with our local community. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Bye.